Alright, so welcome back out to our shop here. We've got something similar to one of the last videos where we were messing around with the foam for a fender in the future. But we're going to make some steel fenders so that way we can figure out exactly what size, what opening, how we're going to do things. And if they turn out super nice, they might just stay on the vehicle forever. But anyways, I wanted to take care of potential foam type of stuff so I could get the mess in and get it all cleaned up before I move on to other things. Because we don't want to build another engine in this place while we're trying to monkey around with making big dust messes. So, on the docket for today is some steel for some steel fenders. So, let's get rolling with that. Alright, so we got some loose forms. That helps us with some spacing. We got some clamps. And then we've got a board screwed down here that's backed by one of our welding plates with just enough room for some sheet metal. So, we're going to grab our steel sections. Basically cut out exactly the same like we did the other ones. Now we're going to need a street piece that we're going to lay over top. And if I recall correctly, it should be 9 1/4 inches from the bottom to that corner. Alright, well we got that marked. We just need to get her all hooked up into the bender here while we trip over other current operations. Right, a little something like that. Maybe there. Alright, then we just throw this guy up in our jig here. And it'll get us kind of close. look pretty decent.
Building in my driveway. V8s and turbos rattling in my driveway. V8 crossfire thumping in my driveway. K24 prototype rattle in my driveway. All the unwanted cars, all the weird little cars modified in my driveway. In my driveway. V8 and turbos rolling in my driveway. In my driveway. V8 and turbos rattling in my driveway.
All right, so more or less, that's a Fender. I think it's looking pretty good. The upside with doing this out of steel is steel doesn't like to conform to tight shapes. So if you're a little bit off, it will bridge the gap and have a nice radius to the top. So that's always cool. So I guess we can probably work on like maybe tip it over, see what other type of stuff we can do to it. I think we're gonna make a inner fender to go in there so we don't get junk packed up in there. Basically just an internal mud flap. But something like that. Kind of wanted this a little bit back from that front edge, mainly for the other insert section. All right, let's see if we can get into some of this internal business. I am thinking that I want to come to maybe like about here. And then I want to take, maybe have a 1/2 inch flange on the piece of sheet metal. And then I want it to follow this line kind of all the way around like that. So that's kind of what I'm aiming for. Kind of hard to get this thing to curve correctly. Right about there. And then we just shove this guy in kind of where we want. Something like that. That looks pretty good to me. All right, we can just hack it off at 30 and see where she sits. Well, we kind of slammed this whole piece in there real quick. And it's actually looking pretty nice. I'm not going to fully hammer it in there. Mainly because I probably need to do some trial and error on the car itself and make sure we have enough clearance for steering and that stuff. We should be fine, but I do know that I'm going to have to take some of this edge back to give it some room, but this is looking pretty good. Probably put a tack in it right back here, and then it shouldn't go anywhere too far. It might slide around a little bit, but that'll be fine until we figure out exactly where we need to be. Then we can grind that tack back out, coat the inside with whatever we want to coat it with, some sort of weld-through primer or something, and then carry on from there. All right, so I've been cutting, hacking, grinding to get these things to fit and work properly. Because, when you have steering, you got that, I don't know, what do they call it? Ackerman angle? I don't remember. But it's when you're pivoting at a point, and then the tire pivots from almost a foot away from that pivot point. The inner side is going to see a lot more movement than the outer side because that moves forward and back. Anyways, I got them to a pretty decent spot. We just need to kind of, at some point in time, keep tacking and welding this thing for a couple hours, but that's for a later time frame, probably off camera, because that's going to kind of take up some time. But while we're here, let's head over to where I have the prototype parked, and we can show you how the wheel well actually works. All right, so it's quite a bit darker over here because we don't have lights out our nose like we have on the other side, but it's a spot. Then we'll just go grab that fender and we get to see a quick representation of what this thing's gonna look like. All right, anyways, it's kind of something like that. I'm gonna have to come up with some sort of mounting thing. I'm thinking just angle iron slapped over there, and then something similar in the front. Front might end up being a rod that goes right through the center of it. Don't really know, but that's kind of what I'm contemplating at this moment in time. Got plenty of room there, and as you can see, because of where the pivot point is, that turning edge in the front here pulls the tire back, and same when it goes the other way, it pulls it away from that frame. But in the same manner, on the inside, it pushes it closer to everything. So like as you can see over here, that tire sticks in quite a bit. That's kind of the reason why your street cars have all that inner fender room. And this guy will probably be slightly different with that tire like that. Downside is if you have, like if you're in some gravel or something and you turn that tight, it's probably going to spit stuff towards the car. But that's what we have to do, and it shouldn't really matter because this is kind of race-only vehicle. Anyways, that's probably going to do it for today. I've got some progress to do. Man, it is kind of dark in here. But anyways, I got some stuff to do, some mounts to make, and got to get the crossfire out, get it cleaned up and ready to go for a new year. Anyways, that's going to be enough for today. Hopefully, we'll see you again later.